All right, we're live. We're here,
Ready to go. Ready to get into this.
ready to do it.
Chili could say, hey, now, elder.
What's up, sis? What's going on? We're here. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, and we're on Instagram. So just shout outs to everybody. What's going on? Happy Monday, good people. We're here.
We have a good subject matter tonight.
True.
There's no way we can cover all this in 1 hour.
Yeah.
There's just no way. But we'll try to do as much as we can.
Yeah.
But we'll probably extend this at the pop-up.
Yeah. So we're not gonna cover all of this in 1 hour.
No.
We only try to do these live streams for an hour or so. But yeah, to your point, if y'all want to talk more about it, we can do it face to face at the pop-up
Yeah.
next Sunday and the Sunday after that. If you didn't know, now you know. All right. So yeah, that being said, we got our pop-up coming up next Sunday. You can see the graphic on the screen if you're watching on Facebook and YouTube. It's at 10 a.m. We got the address down there at the bottom. So feel free to pull up. We got free food. We got good times. We're learning to have some time for prayer and a little bit of time for worship and just dialogue, discussing everything.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
It's a very intimate subject.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot in the subject matter here. So.
For sure.
I think if you're joining us for the first time, if you are in transition, stay with us.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we can help you out
Yeah. Facts.
going through this process.
Facts. All right. Well, you ready to dive into it?
Yeah, let's go for
All
it.
right. Let me say a word
Yeah,
of prayer.
Father, thank you so much again for this opportunity to be able to share your word. We pray, Holy Spirit, that you will just touch the hearts and minds of people, that they may see who Jesus is and how much you loved us by sending your son. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right. So the process of transition,
Yeah,
right? Process of transition. Trust the process. When the dream feels distant, trust the process.
we talked about the pit.
Yeah, sorry, I was reading some of the comments. My bad.
No.
I got sidetracked. Yeah, so last week we talked about the pit. You want to catch everybody up on that?
Yeah, well, the dream. We talked about Joseph. Joseph had a dream, and God gave him his dream. He gave him two dreams
Mm-hmm.
about he was going to be in authority, even though he did not understand it completely. But he had this dream, and then it led to his brothers being upset, threw him in the pit.
Mm-hmm.
So each stage that he went through, I believe the Lord was talking to us.
Yeah.
So he had a dream, he had the pit, he became a slave, he was thrown in prison, and then he was exalted.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think we're going to cover those four areas.
Yeah. Well, the last two anyway.
Yeah, the last two. So the dream, the dream, God will show you something, but he's not showing you the end.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
he's
not showing you the
end,
in-between.
The in between.
Yeah.
He never tells you what you're gonna have to walk through
Mm-hmm.
or encounter as you're going on your journey, because this is a journey.
Mm-hmm.
And then the pit represents isolation and helplessness, because Joseph was in the pit. The only way he could look was up.
Yeah.
Sometimes God has us in situations, in many pits, to teach us to look up instead of around.
True.
Because normally when you're in your pit, people can't help you.
Yeah. Only God can.
I mean, only God can. But God used his brothers to pull him out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a matter of learning to trust him.
Yeah.
That's why you look up.
Yeah. So we'll get back to that trust piece a little
Yeah.
bit later on. We're going to make this full circle. Remember that trust part, because that's going to be something very important later on as we continue the discussion. But as we're talking through the dream, talking through the pit, and talking through Joseph's journey, then we get to the place to where he becomes a slave,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So he's a slave. His brothers sold him into slavery, right? And so Joseph is then forced to be. Sorry, yeah, I don't want to skip too far ahead. My bad, but he's forced to serve,
Right.
right? Free labor, unfortunately,
Yeah.
right? So he's serving in the prison. He's serving Potiphar, and Joseph has a very tangible fear of the Lord
Mm-hmm.
because that is, I believe, what kept him from fornicating with Potiphar's wife.
Yeah, and I also believe that his father probably instilled
Yeah,
principles
yeah,
because I'm sure he told about his grandfather, whatever.
hmm
So I'm sure that was part of that as well.
for sure,
You know.
for sure. And so as he's a servant, he's serving Potiphar,
Mm-hmm.
serving his family. You said something about that time in Jacob's life, excuse me, in Joseph's life,
Mm-hmm.
being a servant, and how him being a servant at that time prepared him really for the rest of his life,
Yeah.
right? But it's kind of hard to see that when he's doing the dirty work and getting his hands dirty and doing the stuff that nobody wants to do, but as a servant, that's a part of what he has to do. But how God used that particular part of his life to set him up for where his life trajectory had to go to, right? And so I want to get to this quote. You said, "True servanthood is unto God, not man."
Yep.
I'm gonna say that one more time.
Yep.
True servanthood is unto God, not man. God watches how you serve before he promotes how you lead,
Yeah.
right? Can you talk a little bit? Wait, hold on. Before you do that, actually, the next thing you said was the servant's apron is God's tool belt. It's the workshop where God refines your
Yeah.
calling. So, like last week, you said if you know that God has something more for you, but currently it just doesn't seem like it, then that means that you're exactly where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because when we look at Joseph as a slave, as a servant, there was no sort of indication that his life was going to lead to where he would be seated on a throne at some
Completely
point.
opposite.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
it's the pauper to the prince whole thing,
Right.
right? So like, how do you think God uses our I guess I don't know how I want to put this, the times where we have to serve, where we're at the bottom of the food chain,
Yeah.
bottom of the barrel, but we know that God has much more for our lives. What do we do in those times?
We submit to what's happening.
Mhm.
Serving. I think the Lord is really teaching us that
Mm-hmm.
servanthood is important. Even
Yeah.
even though Joseph was a slave and the circumstances were different, but I think through this, the Lord is speaking to us about being a servant because Joseph had this dream. He knew God had something for him. He probably didn't know what, how, when or how, whatever.
Yeah.
But being a slave was the furthest thing from his mind.
Mm-hmm.
But I think God dealt with Joseph at that time, and I think in his heart he had to submit to what he was doing.
Yeah.
And in the process of that, God blessed the house of Potiphar, anyway, because of Joseph's submission.
Mm-hmm.
So I think servanthood is what's important. God does something in us when we learn how to serve.
For sure. For sure.
And I think it's very, very important for us to look at what Jesus did, being the Son of God, and, back in those days, their feet was terribly dirty.
Yeah.
Dusty roads and the travel conditions were nothing like it is today.
Sure.
But when Jesus, I don't know I can only imagine if you've been watching The Chosen, that scene was like, wow, that's really something. Because the disciples were like, what are you doing?
Wait, which scene are you talking about exactly?
When he washed their feet.
Oh, we didn't wash their feet.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the disciples were looking at, what are you doing?
Mhm.
Don't wash. I can understand Peter saying, you will never wash my feet.
Yeah. Yeah, you're the Messiah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're the rabbi. You're the Messiah. Yeah, I've seen you calm the winds and all that kind of stuff. But he did. He got on his knees, put an apron around him, got on his knees, bowl of water,
Yep.
and washed their feet.
Yep.
And that was a servant's
Mhm.
job.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think he told them, you don't understand what I'm doing now, but you will.
Yeah.
In other words, he was teaching them, and you keep going, he's teaching them about Gentiles and the world's authority, how they treat one another. He said that should not be among you.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be great, then you have to learn how to serve.
Yeah.
And being a servant, serving people, helping people, being involved since we're talking about the kingdom, being involved in church, you know, doing what you can do and serving goes a long way with God.
For sure. But and that's the interesting part about it though, because that's and you referenced this a little bit when you talked about Jesus washing the feet of the disciples, like how Jesus came and totally flipped the power structure and the power
flipped it.
hierarchy
What do you call
upside
it?
down.
The triangle?
The pyramid,
Yeah,
yeah.
pyramid, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he totally flipped
Flipped it.
that power pyramid upside down
Yeah.
to where the people on the bottom are the ones that got values differently.
You know, we were talking before we went on air about when Paul in 1 Corinthians 4:1 he referred himself as servants.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the apostles as servants.
Yeah.
But that word servant in the Greek meant under rowers.
Mm-hmm.
That means at the bottom of the ship, they were on the lowest part of the ship. He was giving an example
Mm-hmm.
in the lower part of the ship, and they were rowing.
Mm-hmm.
You look. You give me the look. Did I say something wrong? Did I pronounce the word close? No.
No, I just
You look at me.
you kept on saying ship, and like I just noticed, like I can tell that
Yeah.
you're like intently saying the P in that word.
Absolutely. So,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to break you, but I was just like, he's really trying right now.
yeah.
Well, good job.
No, thank you.
Yeah, just make sure it's a P and not a T.
Yeah, that's fine.
My bad.
Yeah, but Paul was giving an example of what that word meant. That they were in the bottom
Right.
doing the hard work, because if they didn't row, the ship would move.
Yeah, the ship goes nowhere, and that's I think so important for everybody to understand, like whether we work in a cubicle or whether we work in in a kitchen, whether we work at in sanitation, whatever it is, whatever position you hold, it's so important to remember that whatever we do, we're doing unto the Lord first of
Right.
all, but we are serving. And I could just see somebody just kind of being miserable where they are because they may be doing the grunt work, but God values those that are doing the grunt work.
And those that are doing the grunt work, your attitude is important.
Yeah.
You know, you can't be complaining and murmuring because God now has your life and you're serving. Actually, technically, we always serve.
Yeah, for sure.
But there are certain times in our lives that we really are being a help, to each other and serving and working, but our attitude has to be right.
And one thing that I think is so special is that when we serve and we really lock in on that and do it to the best of our ability, and we do it unto the glory of the Lord, that once promotion comes, I think of Coming to America. This week I'm washing lettuce, but next week,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna keep on washing the lettuce, but you never know. Next few weeks I'll be cooking the fries. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think about that, but I think about some of the best leaders are the ones that started off on the bottom of the food chain.
Yeah.
The companies like Walmart, companies like UPS, they before they go and hire CEOs from outside, they hire from within. And the best ones are the ones that have worked their way up the food chain because they know what it is to be down there doing the work that's hard and dirty.
Yeah, and the Lord looks at faithfulness. Can
That's
you
right.
be faithful where you are?
Yeah, for sure.
If you are, I think this Jesus said, "He who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much."
Yeah.
And that's why your attitude is important. And
Yeah.
I also know that sometimes when we serve people, their attitudes is not good.
Yeah, that's real.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
Because God is, let God deal with them. But I think a lot of times we go to that because God is working within us.
I agree.
And He won't allow you to stay like that for the rest of your life.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm not saying you're gonna be president. I'm just saying, He will reward you for your service, especially when you do it from your heart.
For sure.
Yeah, Very important.
So the servant's apron is God's tool belt. It's
Yeah.
a workshop where God refines your calling.
Right, because he is working in you. You know, he's working in you, and it's a workshop.
Yeah.
And it's refining your. Because sometimes when you're serving, people talk to you like you're crazy. Now, this one thing I could not be. I could not listen. I could not be a waiter.
Oh yeah. It takes a special type of person.
I
Yeah.
can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And God ain't called. I can't do it.
Yeah. Waiting tables is tough.
You know, and the way people look at you and talk with you, I can't.
Yeah. It's a hard job to have.
It's a very hard job to have, you know, but it makes me feel
They
good.
be talking about you and stuff.
Yeah,
They be talking
I
about
know.
you. Well, that's why you're not getting no tip.
You know?
That's terrible. That is terrible. And some of y'all know who you are.
You didn't say work for that tip. Work for that tip.
That's terrible.
You know, that's their job.
But still,
You know, but you know, it makes me feel good when you get a waitress or waiter that's pleasant.
Mhm.
They love what they're doing.
Mhm.
They want to make people happy. I know that's their job, but they're working on tip. Absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
We work for a paycheck.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just good, to get someone that's serving you that has a good attitude.
For sure,
I
definitely.
cannot stand sorry customer service.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, that drives me.
I see. I see.
You know.
So it seems to me like through the good
You know what? Let me inject this.
Okay.
You know, even though I can't stand bad customer service, sometimes you have to think they may have had a bad day.
Absolutely. I'm glad you said that. Yeah.
They really may have had a bad day, and I think if we kind of discern that a little bit, then we can maybe make their day a little bit better.
Yeah.
You know, and being kind and patient, you know, and understanding. You know, and I think those that people serve under, not just in restaurants, but in authority in the church, they need to recognize that people are serving in the church. They don't, especially volunteers.
Yeah.
They don't have to do nothing.
That's right. That's very true.
So I thought I'd inject that.
Thank you
Continue.
for saying that. No, thank you. So it seems to me that through the good times, through the bad times, the good, the bad, and the ugly, is being a servant. God is using those instances to shape us and to mold us and to prepare us for what He has for us next. Right. Like you said, it's God's tool belt. The servant's apron is God's tool belt. It's the workshop where He refines your calling. You also said God uses service to train you in humility, integrity, excellence, and obedience.
Yeah.
You give a few scriptures. Luke 16:10, he who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. Philippians 2:7, you said, but made himself of no reputation, taking the form of a
But
bondservant.
see, let me inject here because there are people in ministry. You know, when Jesus healed people, He told them, "Go show yourself to the priest. Don't say anything." You know, because if he would have did like some people do today,
Yeah.
they would have probably tried to force him to be king.
Yeah.
But Jesus didn't want that because people didn't understand really why He was there.
Right.
You know, and you know, Jesus made himself of no reputation, but there are people. I have problems with people that sometimes you look on Facebook and they're demonstrating how much power they have. They waving their hand, and falling out. Oh, they blowing on folks, and I'm just saying myself. What's I have a problem with that. I mean, almost like see how much power I have.
Yeah. And they just
Waving their hand,
half the auditorium.
I just have a problem with it.
Is
And I do not believe that's the Spirit of God. I'm sorry. I don't believe it's that.
I love it when they blow on people. It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
Or somebody get healed and they want to broadcast it all. And, just if God uses you, if the Lord heals somebody, you're wonderful. You ain't I just have a problem with it.
No, I agree.
We're making the show, and Jesus made himself with no reputation. People are trying to make themselves you know, with this great reputation, you know, God's man of faith and power,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I just have a problem with it. Lord, pray for me.
No, I am.
Yeah, I do.
No, I get it.
Because I don't see Jesus in that.
Understood.
I understand a person has an anointing. I understand the honor.
Mm-hmm.
I get that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but sometimes we have stretched that thing so far.
Yeah.
There has done much damage in people's lives.
I agree. I agree. With
And
that.
that's a whole subject all by itself.
It definitely is.
So I can continue.
Okay, cool. Mark 9:35. If anyone desires to be first, he shall be last of all and servant of all.
Servant of all. Jesus, as I said before, Jesus got on his knees and washed his creation's feet and looked up to them.
Mm-hmm.
Just that scene.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I came to serve, not to be served.
Right. Which all of us, not all of us, but a lot of us are coming to be served, looking to be served,
Oh, yeah.
right? Expecting to be served.
Yeah, so I've talked to people in the past. They want to be pastors and going into ministry, but you can tell by their conversation they're looking to blow up. You know, because they have this image of what a shepherd is.
Yeah.
And being a shepherd isn't because you have fine clothes and house and car.
Right.
I mean, if that comes, God bless you, but that's fine. I'm not knocking prosperity, but you know, but that's not the essence of it. The
Right.
essence of it, you are a shepherd giving your life for the sheep.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very important. So,
Yeah. You want to take a break?
yeah,
Cool. Let's take
I
a
get
break.
it. I know. The more I think about this, is the more we've gotten so far off track. It's sad. We'll take a break.
So Thursday night, we. So Thursday night, please join us. Will you? Won't you? You're so worked up.
I know. I'm
You
sorry,
are
audience.
so worked up.
Forgive me, audience. It just bothers me.
Yeah,
I
we
need God to help
know.
me. I need the Lord to help me.
Everybody's like, "Woo!"
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And
All right.
Lady J said, "What's wrong with Elder? Nothing's wrong with me. What's wrong with him? He is intense."
Yeah, no, it's just.
So
You talking about Thursday night?
yeah, let me find the graphic.
Okay.
So Thursday night we have GPU, not that one, my bad. The game plan.
Yeah, we definitely invite you to be the game plan with us.
It was gonna be a hard rest of 30 minutes.
We really invite you to be with us on game plan because we're going to talk about a very sensitive subject matter. And this is the subject that we are going to attempt to answer. And
What do you mean we?
well, I will attempt to answer. And I think it's something that we need to really look at. Because I think the church definitely needs to look at it. The question is, will there be gay people in heaven? And can a gay person serve / minister in church if no sin is greater than the other, or is it?
It's a good question.
And I know there's no way I can cover all this in 60 minutes.
Yeah.
So we're going to break this up because I think it's a very, very important question that we need to look at.
Absolutely, you have to.
We can't bury our heads in the sand,
That's right.
and we have to look at it. My prayer is that God will cause us to look at this through His heart, and not through our prejudices.
Yeah. People's lives are at stake.
Yeah.
Right, and that's I think it's a very important question to ask.
And it's sticky,
Yeah.
you know, because of what we believe today. It's sticky, but
yeah.
I believe God. I think if we seek God's heart, I think we may see things a little different. You know, which is good. We're going to tackle it. So,
Yeah, that's good.
yeah.
Okay, so that being said, also don't forget, like we said, next Sunday and the Sunday after that, the 17th and the 24th, we're going to have our pop-up service, our pop-up gathering at 10 a.m. We have the address down below at the bottom of the screen. We're going to be in Duncanville, and it's going to be a really good time of free food and time for prayer and dialogue and discussions, and it's interactive. And we would love for y'all to join us.
Yeah, we have a great time.
Yeah.
I mean, God's presence is there. It's wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is. Great. Anything else?
No, that's. We can continue.
Okay. Are you sure you're
Yeah,
good?
I'm good.
All right.
I'm all right.
Need some water or something?
No, I'm fine.
Great. All right. So, God watches how you serve in another man's house.
Yes, he does.
If you're too big to serve, you're too small to
Too
lead.
small to lead. That's what. And that's a lot of reasons why we're in the condition that we're in now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people have been too big to serve.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I remember back in the day. You know, we was starting off. We get a building. You know, we have to work in the building, knock down walls, paint, all the kind of stuff. Had to clean toilets.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, sweep the floor, put up tents, just serving.
Yeah.
You know, and we learned what it is to serve. Today is a little different. We don't want to do it today.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say everybody's not like that, but this culture is hard to, and even in the church culture, it's hard to get people to get their hands dirty in ministry.
Yeah. But I like this juxtaposition of size here. You said if you're too big to serve, you're too small to lead, right? To me, it's talking about your inward perspective, your perspective of yourself versus what's really in your heart, right? If you're too big to serve, to me, that's a cognitive disillusionment,
Yeah.
right? Versus you being too small to lead, meaning like if you are going to lead, there's a certain level of humility that's involved
You
there.
have to. You have to.
And not that humility is making yourself small, but it's making others big.
Yeah, it takes something to get a blow from people, and you have to keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It takes something. Sometimes when people talk to you like you're crazy,
Mm-hmm.
and the Lord saying, "Don't you say a word,"
Yeah. Yeah.
especially when it's against your nature as a
Mhm.
person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it takes something like that.
Yeah.
But what's happening? God is killing you.
Mm. Your ego, your pride,
Yeah, He's working
selfish
on
ambition.
working on you, because I believe that God, you know, He strategically, you know, sets the environments or allow environments in our life to work on us.
Mm-hmm.
I believe His hand is involved in all of that.
Yeah.
To make us what He have us to be.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. That's a big statement there. We don't have time to go into the massiveness of it.
Mm-hmm.
But just know, if you're too big to serve, you're too small to lead.
Yeah. So then let's talk about the prison,
Okay.
right? So what would you give me a few examples of like or scenarios of someone's life, modern day, that you would parallel to Joseph's prison experience?
Ooh.
I probably should have asked you to think about that before we went
Yeah.
live. My bad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
God.
I'm
Do
sorry.
you know anybody?
Huh?
Do you know? Can you answer that?
I was gonna say it's like a legit like prisoner, like somebody that is in jail right now.
Who? I mean,
I don't know anybody
Okay.
specific.
I thought you wanted me to name somebody.
No, I'm just like
Oh.
no, nobody specific, but like a person that may be incarcerated,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or and that's in prison that may have. Like, granted, like Jacob didn't necessarily do anything that warranted him being in jail.
Okay. So a
Right.
person being in prison unjustifiably.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Somebody
Okay.
that's serving time unjustifiably. That could be, or somebody that I don't know may be just kind of at the at the bottom parts of their life. Maybe at some point they did have everything that they wanted, almost like a Job experience. I would equate what Job went through, having everything that he could have ever wanted, to all of that being stripped away. I could equivalate that time in his life where he was
Mhm.
suffering to his prison moment.
Yeah, I think what's that movie that Will Smith played in when he had his little boy with him?
Pursuit of happiness.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I
you
can see
know,
that.
at his lowest point, then he was blessed at the end.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Him and his son.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are countless stories of people that have gone through something like that.
Yeah.
People who have been incarcerated unjustified.
Unjustifiably.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and and they were exonerated,
Yeah.
and God blessed them to kind of ladder of success, however
Mhm.
you want to put it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there are many. Right now I just can't think of any.
That's fair.
Off my head.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But I asked that because in the time that Joseph was in prison, that's obviously a place of obscurity, right?
Yeah.
That can be a place of or time of suffering, mentally, emotionally, physically,
And confinement,
in confinement. Absolutely.
because he could not go where he wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
When people, even when God is working with us, we want God to do this. We want to go here and go. And God says, "No, I'm confining you
Yeah.
because you're not ready for that yet."
Yeah. And so it's easy for us to think that the place that we're in right now, like it's something that we did wrong, something that we
Sometimes
did,
we do.
so like something that we did to deserve to be put in a place to where,
And that's a hard thing because because of how what we hear every day and our subconscious have heard, we think things should be a certain way at a
mm-hmm,
certain time,
mm-hmm,
and if it isn't, we blame ourselves. But
yeah,
you can't do that.
yeah. I heard a saying that before an arrow can travel the distance, it first has to be pulled back.
Mhm. Yeah,
You know,
that's a wonderful example.
yeah,
I think there's a scripture too about he sharpened my arrow and put me in his quiver. In other
mm-hmm,
words, that particular arrow is designed for a particular target.
yeah, yeah,
And we have to understand that because where you are right now, it doesn't mean it's your fault.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And I personally had to wrestle with that.
yeah,
I had to wrestle with that. I had to stop and think, Lord, I was asking questions, but I stopped and thought and said, I've done everything I know to do.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I've done everything I know to do. What is it that you? Because I felt confined.
yeah, yeah,
I really that felt. What do you want?
yeah,
So you have to get to the point where you say, look, I trust you where I am,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
and I know that you can open up things in a flash if you wanted to.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But it's a trust factor.
Sure,
It really is a trust factor.
definitely, definitely.
And Joseph was confined. He could, God had him there before and then he exercised. I shouldn't say exercise. God allowed a situation to come up. The baker and the butler.
Mm-hmm,
He interpreted the dreams.
mm-hmm,
It's a gift that God gave him. Came from the Lord, but yet he was still forgotten for 2 more years.
yeah. So that brings me to my next point. That was a nice segue. That brings me to my next point because now we're talking about, this obscure preparation, this obscure time of preparation for Joseph that he had to endure. Meanwhile, everything on the outside, unbeknownst to him, was being prepared for him to be
Yeah.
dropped into it, right?
Yeah.
And so it's something that we can't see, it's something that we don't see, something that God doesn't necessarily show us. That's what's happening while we're in the obscure
No,
times
he
in our lives.
doesn't show us. No, he really doesn't.
Yeah. So like there's something that you said. You said God shapes the opportunity itself so that it will be ready to receive you. This reminds me of a quote that many people say: "You got to stay ready so you don't have to get ready."
Mhm.
Right? But that means that, like you said, the waiting season isn't just about you catching up to your destiny. Sometimes it's about your destiny catching up to you.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, how can we be encouraged when we are in those times of obscurity in our lives, and we're just like feeling like, God, well, I don't know what, because and before you said that, because I remember you said Sunday, you said, you know, it took Jesus 30 years to be prepped for a 3-year ministry,
Yeah.
right? And that included the 40 days and 40 nights that he fasted. That included him being a servant with his dad and being a carpenter and dealing with probably disgruntled employees. The Bible doesn't talk about how good of a servant, how good of a carpenter he was. Maybe Jesus maybe he sanded it down too much, or maybe he like the nail leg broke off or something. You know, like we don't know.
Right.
But then it's kind of hard to say that Jesus might have been a bad carpenter. Don't stone me, but the Bible just doesn't give details about that. We just assume that we assume that Jesus was a good carpenter. Maybe he made some wobbly tables and nobody talked
He
about
had
it.
to make mistakes because he had to learn.
Because he had to learn.
Like
Exactly.
else, he had to learn
Exactly.
he had to learn his trade.
Right. Which means that Jesus could have been a terrible carpenter at some
Starting off.
point. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody talks about
And you
that.
don't know how, Joseph had to correct him.
Right.
No, you do it this way. I mean,
How do you correct the son
No.
of man? I'm bad.
you don't know. I mean,
Right.
he had to grow up like everybody else,
For sure.
but he just didn't have no sin.
Right. That's tough.
He's never sinned.
That's tough.
So, to answer your question, I also said the world wasn't ready for Joseph yet.
Mhm.
God wasn't just preparing Joseph for the palace.
Yeah.
He was preparing the palace for Joseph.
That's right. That's good.
And so sometimes when we are in confinement, we think we're ready, and you may be,
Mhm.
but God says, "No, I'm still working on the perimeters out here. So,
Yeah.
because I'm still getting this. I'm still getting this ready. Just be patient and wait on me.
Mhm.
I'm getting this. I'm getting this ready. Like I think one of the greatest examples I love is when Jesus was had to be born. So there was a census that was called by
Right.
Augustus.
Right.
They had to go in their place. The reason why that moved Mary and Joseph into position for Jesus to be born in Bethlehem, because Bethlehem, the first word Beth is bread,
Yeah.
and He is the bread
That's
of
right.
life.
Mhm.
The Lord was shaping everything.
Yeah.
He was getting everything right. Jesus could have came in our day if He wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was then that the Lord decided to come in that time. In the fullness of time, God sent His Son.
Mhm.
So even in our lives, in the fullness of time, God's going to send us, and we're going to come into what He wants us to do. But He's working all the time. He's
Yeah.
preparing people's lives. There's stuff going on in people's lives, and they're being set up to hear the gospel.
Yeah.
They're being set up to know about Jesus loves them. That's why we have to go with God, not before Him. Work with Him.
Mhm.
And as we work with Him, you'd be surprised of the fruit that comes from that.
Yeah. That's good.
So when you stop and think about, all the people that the scriptures talks about that God used. I mean, we talk about Moses all the time, but think about it. Moses was 80 years old before he started his ministry.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
It is. It is.
And so I'm 70.
Yeah.
My whole life.
Yeah.
But it's when you stop and think about it, and if we don't really just slow down and let God just do what He desires to do, because we have to be ready. He doesn't want us he doesn't want us to inject us into something that's going to overpower us.
True. Very true.
So there's a lot of facets about that, but
Yeah.
God shapes the opportunity so that it will be ready to receive you.
Absolutely. So it's 7:44.
Yeah.
We need to create some space for questions and comments and all of that stuff. So as you all are hopefully thinking of questions and comments, you obviously don't have to wait until we get to this point. But if you have questions, if you have comments, please by all means let us know. Drop them in the comment section, and we'll be sure to answer those questions for you. But as you're doing that, as we bring this to a close and land this plane, let's quickly go through some of the applicable points where we can find ways to make this teaching practical, right? So the very first thing that you said was to make this practical.
Yeah.
Number one is we have to serve with excellence, even in unfair places.
Yeah. Give it your all.
Mm-hmm.
Give it your best. God
Yeah.
looks at that.
Yeah.
He loves that.
Yeah.
And He will reward you for it.
Yeah.
So the way you handle less than is preparing you for more than.
For more than. That's good.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Number two, how you serve now shapes how you lead better.
Yeah. In other words, don't despise small beginnings. You know, every act of faithfulness is secret. It's in every act of faithfulness in secret is a rehearsal for public influence. So what you do, and that's a lot. But whatever all the small things that you are to do when you're serving, it really does help you once you get to the place where you want to be.
Yeah.
And then sometimes when you look at when God gets you there, and you look at people and they're moving, you know, toward their destiny, whatever God has for them, you can look at them and say, okay, you need to do so and so and so. It gives you insight and understanding. It helps you understand about the heart of God.
Yeah.
But it's the small things that we don't need to overlook. I know
That is a lot, but it's important.
yeah.
Number three, it says just because you're ready doesn't mean the assignment is ready for you.
Yeah, because God is he's working, he's getting people in place. You know, so you have Joseph. You know, now this is my own personal. If he was forgotten for 2 more years, could it not be that it took God 2 more years to get everything ready for him?
I believe that. Yeah, I believe that. That's good.
Because it's amazing, because when Pharaoh had the dream, then was it the butler, I think, that said, you know, then he remembered.
Sure. Yeah, that's right.
Why couldn't he remember
Jacob?
why couldn't he remember a year?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, reading them, so 2 years, Joseph was probably already ready, but 2 years God had to work in the palace, had to work on the king, on Pharaoh, he had to work on the environment, he had to work on get everything set.
Yeah.
So when Pharaoh laid down and had that dream, you know, and then he remembered Joseph and he called him out. Joseph was ready.
Yeah. The opportunity, the situation had to be just right.
It had to be just right.
Yeah. And so then that brings us to point number 4. It says God is working behind the scenes even when you can't see it. And that's one thing. Before you expand on that a little bit, that's one reason why I said we have to keep this the word trust at the forefront as we bring this full circle, because it takes immense amount of trust in God to trust that he's working on something when you can't see it, because we can't.
It's one thing to it's easy to say you got to trust God. We quote scriptures, trusting the Lord with all that heart. You quote scriptures. But when you're in the middle of something, you really can't see your way. You can't see. It is like the complete opposite of what God told you.
Right.
It takes something to trust God. And then when you're hearing opposite, if people are saying the opposite, you know, it takes something for you to trust Him. And I think during those times when things look, you know, crazy, that's when we draw nigh to Him. Because I think as we draw nigh to Him, He really helps us deal with that.
For sure.
You know, it may look crazy, but God is moving in places that our eyes haven't seen yet, and it is a matter of trust.
I like this part that you said. What looks like stagnation is often divine synchronization. Trust that God is moving in places your eyes haven't reached yet. And I love that divine synchronization, right? Like getting something on track to move at the right pace, at the right time, in the right position. And we just don't see that, but it's like, yeah, this part may be ready, but this part has to line up so that these parts can synchronize and work the way it's supposed to be, like a watch.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like in order for everything to move in clockwork, you may have this gear that's in the proper place and ready, but everything else has to be ready for the gear to be placed in there.
It's like a convergence.
Yeah.
Everything converges. You know, because I like what when he was sold into slavery.
Yeah.
The scripture says, "Meanwhile," you know, so God was working here, but He was also working over there, because He was going to bring these two together.
That's good.
And so that meanwhile is, you got to trust Him in that meanwhile.
For sure.
You have to.
For sure.
You know, and I know that many of you, God has told you things, and you know it's the Lord speaking to you, and you don't see it. this is the time
Yeah.
that you learn to trust him.
Yeah.
You know, get into the word, see how God dealt with people in the word. He left these things on record for us as examples to us how he deals with people, how he deals with us. And so if we don't never get into the scriptures, then our faith is going to be very topsy turvy and weak because we don't see them, but neither did they.
Right. Right.
You know,
Right.
so we had to. God told Abraham he was in transition for 25 years,
It's a long time.
and he still didn't see the promise. And what I mean by that, God, the main thing he was going to see, God promised him descendants as the stars of heaven and sand on the seashore. He never saw that,
Right.
but he did see Isaac.
Yeah, he saw his son.
I don't know.
No, that's
So
facts.
yeah, it's facts, but we need to trust God in these times. It can be very frustrating, and it can be very difficult
Yeah.
and hard to trust God when nothing makes sense.
Yeah.
But get into the Word, see how God dealt with His people, because He deals with us the same way.
For sure. For sure. But,
Yeah.
But we don't want to get into the word though.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
So we don't want we're comfortable with people talking to us over the rostrum, and
Over the what, Dad?
the pulpit. Ross is also called the rostrum as well.
How do you spell that?
Oh,
Rostrum.
yeah.
Okay, my bad. I'm sorry.
So the word is coming forth, and people are hearing it over the pulpit. Okay, so when they're hearing it, a lot of times we just take everything that's being said instead of taking what we said and searching it out and
Right.
seeing if it's true.
Right.
And we're lazy
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to searching the scriptures.
Very much.
But we need to understand there's so many avenues to help us in our study now at our disposal.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we don't want to take advantage of what's at our fingertips
Yeah.
to help us to understand.
Yeah.
We don't want to search. We don't want to work it.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully this will be.
yeah. I'm telling you, if you get into the word, you're in a situation you don't understand, and God told you, but it looks opposite for what he told you. Get into the word, see what God did for others,
Yeah.
and He'll do the same for you.
Okay, so we have a question, then we
Okay.
have a comment. So Gwen said, do you think we sometimes move too soon in the process thinking we're ready?
Yes, we do. And if we move, as I always said, you move too soon, you're going to create an Ishmael.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Abraham and Sarah did that,
Yeah.
and we're reaping the consequences of that today.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can't move. The thing is, I'm keep saying it too. You got to slow down to the speed of life. You have to slow down.
Yeah.
Everything is not a quick fix,
Yeah.
and God takes His time when He deals with us.
Yeah.
It takes years for God to perfect us where He wants us to be,
Mm-hmm.
and we still don't. We don't fully get there in this life.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Yeah.
So I got to the point where look, I'm not gonna worry about this. I ain't worried about that. Excuse me. Look, I'm just gonna walk with you, whatever. I trust you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep following you. And you have a greater peace. Jesus said this. He says, "Come unto me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Or weary, I'll give you rest.
Mm-hmm.
Take my yoke upon you."
Mm-hmm.
And learn of me, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. For I am gentle and lowly at heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when you come to Him and give Him this, He teaches you how to walk with Him.
For sure. For sure.
He doesn't put this yoke on like that the religious system does.
Yeah.
He doesn't do that.
Yeah. It's good. Okay, we have a little bit more.
Okay.
So Sheila, she had a comment, and then she had a question after this. She said she has heard, going back to us talking about waiters, She said she has heard that some of the hardest and worst people to serve are church folks, which is sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And yeah, I mean, we can be something.
it is sad.
We can be a trip.
I agree. Not me.
You know?
I love my service. Okay, I don't need nobody spitting in my food. Okay, you serving me, you see this, I love you.
I remember I was in a restaurant. I think it was in Montana, and we were with these preachers and stuff. And it's just amazing how arrogant we can get. We were sitting at the restaurant, and the waitress did something, but yet they were sitting there and said, "Oh, the smoke is just so disgusting." They were just so religiously aggravated because somebody was smoking in the restaurant. I was like,
Oh, this back in the day.
yeah, I
Yeah.
was like, really? I mean, it's we can be something,
Yeah,
and we can be something because we forget where we came from.
that's true. That's true. That's true. All right, so this next question.
Okay.
Sheila also said, Apostle, how do you remind yourself that as you get older, God's purpose is still being worked in your life, like you mentioned with Moses being 80?
Because every now and then God says, "I'm still here.
Mm-hmm.
I still meant what I said,"
Yeah.
and He will. I know for me personally, He will let me know, "I got you."
Yeah.
I may hear it in a song.
Mm-hmm.
I may hear it in a teaching.
Yeah.
I may hear it in a person encouraging me. I may hear it in a sermon.
Yeah.
But I know God's speaking to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think He communicates along the way. Because even when Abraham, before he had Isaac, God had appeared to him, I think two, 3 times. But those appearances weren't back to back. They were like years apart.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this journey, along the way, God let Abraham know, I'm here. I meant what I said.
Yeah.
Your descendants are going to be like the stars of heaven. He made a covenant with him.
Mm-hmm.
A year just before Isaac was born, God, visited Abraham,
Mm-hmm.
And let him know that this time next year, Sarah was going to be pregnant.
Yeah.
I mean, so he gives us little injects of excitement along the way.
Yeah.
If I want to use that word.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Just kind of lets you know, like you said, that he's with you and that you're
Yeah.
on the right track.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And other times when he does that, he actually what he's saying is, "Will you trust me?
Yeah. Keep going.
Keep going."
Mm-hmm.
Many times I was, telling God again, I feel him saying to me, "Will you trust me?
Yeah.
Trust me."
Yeah.
And I was like, this don't make sense.
Yeah.
I was honest with it. This just don't make sense at
I
all.
feel you.
But you have to trust him.
Yeah. That's good. Great questions.
Yeah.
Great answers. All right. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and land this plane. I've had to sneeze for the last 45 minutes. It is killing me. I'm so sorry.
Well, all you do is turn your head that way.
I know, but like, I sneeze like mom. Like the whole house shakes when I
Okay,
sneeze.
well, just hold on.
That's what I've been trying to do.
We don't want you to shake our audience because of that sneeze.
That's what I'm trying to hold it in. Like,
Right?
I'm sure people see me rubbing my nose, rubbing my eyes, like my allergies are kind of activated, and
I tell your mom she can raise the dead on her sneeze.
just putting cracks in the wall.
We be in restaurants. We be in restaurants. Be quiet about be talking.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden she sees everybody in church.
Everybody just turns and
I mean,
looks.
I'm saying people
Yeah.
looking. She's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's and her niece does the same thing.
I swear she breaks a rib every time she sneezes. Has to.
Yeah, it's
Oh my God. Okay.
yeah.
That being said, she said, "Stop it." My bad. Okay, so as we bring this to a close, see my allergies, man. I'm sorry. Don't forget, y'all. We've said it a few times, but just in case you forgot, this Thursday we do have the game plan. All right, that's at 7:00 p.m. We got the meeting ID on the screen for you to check it out. Also, if you like more info, you can visit our website at church110.com for instructions on how to log in to our teaching. All right. Let's see. Also, if you would like to give, we have the instructions to give at the bottom of the screen. You can do so. You can give by texting the word church 110 give to the number 77977. And listen, we appreciate your prayers. Like we always say, we just ask that you all keep praying for us. We also ask that the Lord would put it on your heart to support us financially as well.
Yeah.
So I'll keep that on the screen, and don't forget next Sunday we have our pop-up service, our pop-up gathering that's happening, where we're going to be able to meet in person, face to face.
Now, the pop-up, I mean, interrupt you, but the pop-up was really good because we have interaction more
Yeah.
in communicating the word. You know, it's a relaxed it's a relaxed environment.
Yeah.
You know, and we dialogue while we're eating. Or
Yeah.
it's just a good atmosphere. You
Yeah.
don't have to feel intimidated, nothing like that. There are no crazy questions.
Yeah.
We want people to understand what God is doing.
Very much so.
We want to communicate that to you, and it's non-traditional how we do it,
Right.
but it's still the word going forth. We're just breaking it up, making it how you say the word for your palate.
Oh, palatable.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
yeah. So
That's good.
I think it's good. Please, come.
Please
You'll
do.
enjoy it.
Yep.
And if you Thursday night, we're gonna talk about what I said earlier. If you want to invite people in on it, please do so, because a lot of people have questions and opinions, and we just want to have a good dialogue.
Yeah. We will have a good dialogue.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure.
Okay. And we'll let you go because he's about to sneeze. Turn the table over. So I mean, and the camera, I don't want to knocking the camera down when he sneezes. So, we love y'all. We look forward to seeing y'all Sunday. Keep the announcements in mind. So, because he's having a fit over here, he's about to explode like a volcano or something. I don't want anybody to get on me.
I'm sorry. We love y'all very much. Okay. That's all I got.
Okay.
All right.